Hello World of Tank Blitzers, I'm Dr. Trax on Blitz, and in today's video we are taking a quick look at the Type 62, a Chinese light premium tank that has just hit the store today. So I will give you a short review of the tank, then show you a replay that I just had today, and then also tell you which bundle in the store you should go for. The first thing I want to highlight about the tank is the gun. You have an amazing damage per minute. 2500 on a tier 7 tank is really good. That means you have a higher DPM than even some tier 8s or some tier 9 tanks. With a reload time of 4.8 seconds you get 200 alpha. 200 alpha damage is not the highest, which means trading with your opponent is not recommended. However, you can sting them 2-3 times when they shoot you once. An issue with the gun is the low AP penetration. You only have 145 millimeters. However, if you have trouble, especially against tier 8 opponents, you can simply switch to your heat ammunition and that gets the job done because you have 250 millimeters of heat penetration. So that should allow you to butter through anything. The aiming time 3.5 seconds, that's really good. The dispersion 0.31, also really nice. And as you can see, a Chinese tank that has actually some gun depression. 7 degrees is not really enough to work any ridge lines, however it makes you a little bit more flexible on the battlefield. The next good thing about the tank is the maneuverability. You have an amazing top speed with 60 kilometers an hour. You have really nice reverse speed, which means if you poke around a corner or you pull out in the open, you shoot the enemy and you can back up into cover really quickly. You also have a power to weight ratio of 35.5, which means your acceleration is really nice. As you can see, the turret turn rate and the hull turn rate are also amazing, which means if you find enemy heavy tanks out in the open and isolated, you can easily circle them and kill them. The only real downside about the tank is the survivability, so you can see you don't have any armor. You're a light tank, so if anything shoots at you, expect to be penetrated. Even if the turret seems quite rounded, it is not armored enough so that angling actually does something. So people can HE you basically all around, sometimes even from the front. So if you pull out and you are spotted, if something aims at you and shoots, you will get penetrated. So take that into account. How am I equipping my tank? For the consumables, I run the multi-purpose restoration kit and the repair kit just because I don't like to get caught out in the open and get tracked in the open because that is basically a death sentence. So I run double here. For provisions, I run the double rations and the improved fuel. The ammo loadout, you can see I run quite a healthy amount of heat rounds just because if I come up against tier 8 or heavily armored tier 7 tanks, like for example an Annihilator or a Smasher, I will switch to the heat and then I can shoot them, which is why I run quite a lot of them. And for the equipment, I go for the gun rammer just because I want to improve the DPM a little bit more. As you can see, calibrated on the AP pen only adds 7 millimeters, which is not enough. However, if you find yourself having trouble penetrating a lot of tanks frontally, maybe calibrated shells is an option for you as it boosts that heat penetration to 275. However, for my playstyle, it is not really necessary because I use the tank as a scout and a flanker, which means I will have side shots on enemies and I will not go frontally against enemy heavy tanks. I also go for the enhanced landing drive just to get the aiming time a little bit down and the refined gun to get the dispersion down to 0.3, which makes it more comfortable for me to shoot enemies at mid to long range if I'm flanking on big maps. I go for the defense system because ramming in a light tank, even if you have a lot of speed, but it's not really a valid option. Improved assembly to get more hit points. You don't have any armor, so yeah, don't even bother. The toolbox because I want to repair those tracks. Optics here because you are a light tank, you are supposed to be the eyes and ears of your tank and scout and spot enemy tanks. The engine accelerator just to get the mobility up. The improved control doesn't really add that much. The hull turn rate and the turret turn rate is already enough to circle enemies, so I'm using the engine accelerator, and I'm using the consumable delivery system just to get my adrenaline back more often. Next, I will show you a replay that I've just had today on Mines, and I will tell you a little bit what I'm doing. So first of all, on Mines, there's really only two options that you have with the tank. Because you do not have any armor, there is no point in trying to go hull down. So in the beginning, what you should do and what I'm going for, if you are the quickest tank on your team, you can definitely try to get the hill. Also, the only enemy tank I'm really worried about is the F3301 because he has equal speed, so it really depends. I'm just hoping that I'm getting through with it because that will allow me to get a really nice position from which I can have shots on a lot of enemies. So what I'm doing here, aiming at the Progetto, and also what you see is I do not stop, so I go forward. I'm trying to get behind this so that the Progetto doesn't have shots on me. And now I'm calming down a little bit and assessing the situation. So as you can see, enemy tanks get into position. Sadly, our defender, I rage a little bit on him because, he has turret armor. He can go hull down on this map, so him crossing was not really necessary. Also, he's not really as fast as I am. I can see the Progetto tries a flanking maneuver here. Sadly, I missed the shot. But as you can see, I'm not trying to poke too much. I'm very careful here because I want to save my HP. As a light tank with no armor, you need your health in the end game if it's 2-on-1 or 1-on-1. So what I'm trying to do here is just peek out a little bit quickly and get some shots in. Sadly, this one is a miss. And now our defender sadly bites the dust. I have time to rage at him again. I'm not really sure what to do here. I'm trying to shoot the Annihilator so that he uses his second repair kit. However, I do not manage to take his tracks off. The T-26 does a very risky maneuver. Sadly, my shot here is a little bit high. And yeah, now we're down 2 tanks. And I'm not really sure what to do. But as you can see, I'm in a safe position here. There's not much really that can happen to me, and now I see the Lycan behind me. So what I can do here is, you see, I will pop my adrenaline because I have really good DPM now, and even though I have to switch to the heat, I can get some nice shots on him. You can see the accuracy is really good on the tank. But now I pull back because that Lycan has 400 alpha. And I do not want to get hit by that, because, that would be very, very deadly for me. What I'm doing now is, again, assessing the situation, and I see in the cap circle the SU is spotted. The SU is a very lightly armored tank, and I can get some nice HE shots into it, and that's what I'm doing. Switch to the HE, take one shot, get a second shot in him, and he runs away. I want to be careful here, because I do not want the AC to shoot me. The Lycan is taken out, which gives us a little bit of time to breathe. Sadly, I don't have any shots on the IS-3, but he doesn't have any shots on me either. Our Tiger bites the dust as well. And sadly, this shot misses as well. And I'm back into cover, because I want to be very, very careful. I will need my hit points in the end game. So what I'm seeing now is the AC is still spotted. And also, I can shoot his weak spots, I know that. I want to get behind this rock here so that the Annihilator can't shoot me. And now I'm trying to shoot that AC. He cannot spot me because there is this tree. I switched the heat just to penetrate, however I wouldn't have really needed to. Luckily, this shot goes in, and now I see the SU is isolated. Also, the Annihilator is at the same position that he was in earlier, which means he cannot shoot me when I go on the SU. So I push the SU, and now that looks like a very, very comfortable position. I tell the team to hold because there's no point of me rushing in. I would just get obliterated. If that Annihilator penetrates 3 HE shells on me, I could die. So yeah, I want to take it slow. My Annihilator can still take some shots and have a higher chance of surviving. So now I switch to the heat again to penetrate. Maybe I should have done it earlier. However, we still come out on top, and now the only thing left is the Progetto. So what we're doing here, that was a lucky shot, to be honest. I did not expect that one to hit. And now it's just mopping up the rest and running into that Progetto. You can see I can quite comfortably take a lot of shells still, because I saved my hit points to the end. So that was, to be fair, a difficult game. In the beginning and in the middle, I was pretty sure we would lose that one. But as you can see, we used our mobility in the end. Also, we went in on isolated targets like that SU, and with the amazing DPM that you have, you can rip them apart. So we come out on top in this game. So, the Type 62. Should you then get it? To be honest, it's an amazing tank. It's a really fun one. It's quick, it's nimble, it has a nice gun, and even though it's in tier 7, which is quite a difficult tier to play, it's a really good tank. Also, what you saw in the replay, was it this one? Yes. You make 50, I made 53,000 credits, which is also quite nice, so it's a nice little credit earner. You have in the store right now 2 bundles. One gives you the Type 62 for 3,000 gold. The other one gives you for 8,000 gold the Type 62 and the Type 59. If you have 3,000 gold in your account, the Type 62 is definitely a tank that you can or should pick up, because it's a really fun one and one I can definitely recommend. I bought it the last time it was in the store for, I think, €5, €6, €7, something like this, and I definitely do not regret it. It's an amazingly fun tank. I can definitely recommend it. That was it so far from me. I hope you enjoyed the video and the review. Thank you very much, and goodbye.